back to Sophia's vlogs. Today, as you guys can see in the title, we're gonna talk about Mateo's story. Quick update: Mateo is my son, my stillborn. So in this video, I'll be sharing with you guys his story. I know I did it before, but I feel like in the other video, I went more on how I went to a whole nother story and then combine it with his story, but I want to make sure that this one for sure is just focused on him and a little bit of my grieving process. And by next video, hopefully I'll talk about how the steps it took for me and the steps I'm still taking, and also about more stuff about the grieving process. So just gonna mainly focus on his story today. Well, it all started when I was 18 and my partner, he was 19, and we were trying to have a baby. And I know a lot of people are gonna think like, what the heck, it we were planning, and that's what it was. We were planning, and we were successfully succeed on our first try. With the first month that we tried. At first, I honestly had no clue I was pregnant because I've never been pregnant before. I had no clue. Every pregnancy is different, every body is different, every woman is different. So for me, I had no clue. And then also my periods were irregular, so they will come sometime, they will not come sometime. So yeah, the month, it was on April. That's the month we tried, and I ended up pregnant. I remember the first sign, my boobs were hurting. I think this is a very common symptom on everybody, but my boobs were hurting, and I thought it was just gonna be my period. So that happened, and then my period didn't come. So I was like, oh, it's probably like late, it will come, because when you're regular, you have it every month around the exact time. So for me, I was just like, oh, it will come. So yeah, time passed by. My partner, he woke up one day feeling really nauseated, and it was nauseous. Excuse me, I know nauseated, it's not a word. It's nauseous, but I use that a lot. I don't know. I made my own language. Yeah, he was nauseous, so we used to stay back then at his dad's place, and it was only one restroom. So his dad was in the restroom, and he wanted to throw up, and I just saw him go outside. So he did go outside and throw up. I didn't make it, like, I didn't thought about it, like, oh, we're pregnant. I didn't thought. So days went by. I found out eventually I was pregnant, thanks to his mom and his godmother that took me to get a pregnancy test done. Because to me, in my mind, in my head, I wasn't pregnant. But I guess other people can see when you're pregnant. My pregnancy at the beginning, it was good. Other than my morning sickness that hit me really bad, I will throw everything up. I will not keep not even water. So basically, the toilet became my best friend. Like, I would just throw it up, throw everything up. Like, I didn't want to know about anything about food, anything. Like, nothing sounded good to me, or nothing really smelled good to me. Everything was horrible. So yeah, I went by. I think I became a little bit anemic because I lost a lot of weight too. But that's part of pregnancy, so that happened. Time went on, still continue. we got in a car accident when I was 17 weeks. We were going to the mountains. We were going up to just see the city, relax, because we went for a long walk. And it was his two cousins, his cousin's baby, and me. I was in the front, the passenger seat, and Kyle, which is my partner, was in the back with Lynette and Vanessa, which are his cousin, and the Lynette is his cousin's baby. We got hit by a drunk driver, and it was really horrible because at the moment, all I remember is I saw a really bright light, and that the seat belt really hurt my stomach. It squished my stomach and my chest too. So it was really bad. They sent me to the hospital in an ambulance along with my partner. I couldn't move. I remember I was like in a lot of pain. In my mind, I was just praying the whole time to not lose my baby because, that was just my main concern. I didn't want to lose him. We went to the hospital. They did a lot of tests. They saw that my placenta was unattaching. So they kept me there for a day. And they checked me and they told me everything was good, that I could go back. Like nothing worse happened that they thought that was gonna happen. So they sent me back. So at the moment, I was so thankful with God because I could have lost my baby in the car accident. And those people, they didn't ditch because thankfully my partner got out on time, and then all the people that heard the car, the push came out and stopped them. They were trying to take off. But I couldn't have imagined that I was about to lose him. So it went by, time went by. My pregnancy continued normal. My doctor, now that I think about and I'm going through with this pregnancy, I see that the doctor that was my doctor back then didn't do a lot of things right. And now that I see, it's like, I can't blame myself, which I used to do it back then, because I didn't know what it was. Like, I didn't know how they're supposed to take care of you, like all the prenatal care and stuff. Now I see it because with this baby, I'm more alarmed and I ask more questions. Back then, I wouldn't really ask questions or stuff like that. And I noticed the doctor didn't do a lot of things that she was supposed to. But everything was going good so far. And by the 5th month, they do this anonymity scam, which is around I believe mine was at 21 weeks. So I had that done, and they sent me to this other place to get it done. I didn't get it done at the doctor's office. And I remember that we already knew it was a boy, but they like to confirm it. We got to see Mateó, and he was just even though I couldn't see him outside, it was just through that little TV, and it was he was perfect, and he still is. They didn't tell me anything was wrong. To me, my baby was beautiful and perfect. The day of the ultrasound, his mom and him went with me to the ultrasound, and they told us he was a boy again. They told us he was okay. The girl, I remember, she said that she couldn't really tell us like anything because she was just doing the ultrasound, and the doctor was the one that was gonna give us the results. But so far everything looked good. And I don't blame the girl because like that's her job. Um, so yeah, I remember 3 days after. 3 days after he Kyle went to work, I was home, and his mom was home too. I think she was in the kitchen, and I was in the room, in our room, and I remember it was just like I get the phone call, and the doctor just tells me that we got your results. We got your results, and I cannot take care of you no more. And your baby has a condition where he's growing liquid around his abdomen and his heart. That's all she said. She never said what it was called. That's all she said. And I remember I just like I stayed quiet. Like I was by myself. I was in shock. I was like, was my first thing that came out after was like, well, is he gonna be okay? Like, is he gonna live? The doctor told me I can't take care of you no more. I'm gonna refer you to a high risk clinic. They're gonna take care of you. I'm gonna send them a referral. Yeah, I'm so sorry. And that was it. I I I don't know how to explain my anger at the time, because that I know doctors should call you to their office and go with you, review with you the ultrasound, and where like on the scan, show you, not just give you the call and tell you I can't take care of you no more. I'm sorry, your baby has this condition and I cannot take care of you. She never explained the side effects. She never even gave me the name of what the baby had. She just told me it was liquid around his heart and his abdomen. That's all. She never even said if the baby could die, anything like that. It makes me mad. And for a while I was really mad at myself because I didn't do a lot. I feel like I didn't do as much as I could to like prevent what was gonna happen. Time went by. I told his mom the day. I told his mom, and she told me everything's gonna be okay. And in my mind, it was like everything's not gonna be okay. I have him inside. I am his mom. I know everything's not gonna be okay, even though I know she was trying to make me feel like she was just trying to be there to support me and to just give me faith. At the time I was just lost. I didn't know how to tell my partner that the doctor called me to give me the results, and instead of giving me good results, where the results I got was not what we were expecting. So in my mind I was like, God, this is like the second time, like, please, 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 I beg you, like, the doctor's probably messed up. I remember he came back because he used to work at Metro PCS, but then he came back from work and I was just quiet, and we went in the room and I told him, you know what, I can keep this away from you. And I told him I felt really depressed, and I know that he noticed it, because even though he was young, he was there for me like the whole time. And even though I know he was also scared, he never left my side. So time went by. I was like, I told my mom. My mom also said that it wasn't that bad. That, like, to keep my head up and just pray. I searched it up. I searched up on Google. I remember I went on my phone and searched up um, what she said. The liquid growing inside the two parts of a baby fetus, or a fetus, or a baby, unborn baby, and fetal high drops came out. And I was reading, and it was a mistake I made. It was a mistake, and it wasn't a mistake because then I realized, like, you know what? I was right. It's not like he's gonna be okay, because he's not. Like, and even though people are gonna tell me he's gonna be okay, my baby's not gonna be okay. And it's pretty much the only 1% of babies survive, and mostly all the cases, babies come out dead already. So yeah, I remember I searched it up, and the pictures of those babies, they were so swollen. They just didn't look like babies of how swollen they were. I stopped reading. I remember he took me out to eat because I was depressed. He took me out to eat. He took me out to this park, and he promised me that we will take our son there once he was out. And I believed him. So time went by, and I remember, like, it's like if God gave me the sign that, you know what, he's gonna be with me, not with me, but with him. I believe in God, so because I remember I heard this song, and that song, it's always gonna be his. It's called Yo Te Esperaba by Alejandra Guzman. I remember the song played on my phone. I was playing Pandora, and I was just going through his little clothes, and it played, and I remember put his little onesie that I was planning to take him out from the hospital with. And all I remember, I put the onesie on my tummy, and I cried. I cried, and I cried, and pretty much the song describes how I felt. So I felt like the song really clicked with me. That's why I say that that's his song. So time went by, and the first sign was that I noticed we were watching TV. Me and my fiance were watching TV, and half of this eyes, which is the left side of my face, I felt like I got up to go pee, and it felt like it was like literally just melting. I kind of got scared because only one side. And I told him, and I was just tired because at the beginning of the pregnancy, it was a healthy pregnancy, but it was just like I will be mostly all the time in the hospital, either because I was throwing up, or like, I needed fluids in because I couldn't even drink anything or eat anything, or either that or I was spawning. So it was healthy and not healthy at the same time, because it had its ups and downs, you know. So I just told him I don't want to go to the hospital because it went away. It didn't stay there for long. It was just for a couple seconds. And I didn't want it to go to the hospital and then for them to send me back. So then I was like, it's fine now. The second I was 5 months, I wasn't even 6 months. I was like 5 months, like 22 weeks, I started getting super swollen. I found it funny, not knowing what was happening, because I remember I told his mom, let's go to Olive Garden. I was craving Olive Garden. And I told her, you know what, let's go to Olive Garden. I wanna eat soup. We went and we ate, and I remember it was hot. This was back in 2016. It was really hot, and I took a picture of my feet because they were swollen, like swollen. And I told my mom, "Look, Fiona's feet." And I remember she just called me, like right away after she got the picture. She's like, "That's not funny. It's you should not. It's not normal for you to be getting swollen like this because you're just 5 months." To me, it was in my head. I was like, "Well, it's probably because it's hot. I've been walking a lot, and you know." So I called the office because they haven't still even said anything about the referral that they were sending. So I called them, and the girl said, "Well, I can just tell you to put your feet up and drink a lot of water." So I did it. I went home and I drank a lot of water, and kind of went away. Then days went by again. I was super swollen. I was getting really, really swollen, and I told my mom, and she told me, "You know what? You had to call them again," because I kept calling the high risk, and they wouldn't. They said that they didn't have my referral. So then I called the other girl from my doctor, and they said they couldn't see me because the high risk pregnancy. So I remember I called them after I hung up on my mom, because I was super swollen. Like my hands were so swollen, my feet were swollen, my thighs were swollen, like I was getting swollen. I called them, and then they told me like, um, I I called a bunch of people. I think I called my insurance card, the nurse, the some nurse they give you and a number of. She said to call them. The other people were not answering, and then I kept calling the high risk clinic obstetrics, and then they told me, "You know what? Just go to the hospital." So I went to the hospital. Another mistake that the doctor made was that I never got assigned to a hospital. She will always be changing the doctor that will deliver my baby, and also the hospital I'll be delivering at. So I just went with the last hospital she told me, which was El Camino Hospital Los Gatos. The hospital looks abandoned. Like, it looks like a freaking motel. Um, so I went. I remember I called him. He was with his mom because his mom was doing a job. When he came back, I got ready, and I thought to myself, "You know what, I'm gonna come back." And that's what his mom thought too. So I remember I just put on my maternity pants or whatever, like I was comfy on, and we left. When we got there, I told them, like, my baby has fetal height drops. I think it was 23 weeks. I'm 23 weeks, and around 23. And I'm getting super swollen. So right away they put me in the room. I got to take up my last picture. I remember they made me pee, and they told me to change into a gown. And yeah, right away they told me, they came back with they put an IV. This time it wasn't right here. They usually will put it right here. This time was like around over here, like right here. And they told me that I had preeclampsia. For those who don't know what preeclampsia is, it's high blood pressure. It's really bad when you're pregnant because it doesn't only put the baby's life in danger, so it's also your life in danger. I had that. I was really anemic, and since the baby wasn't like full term, they couldn't keep me there, so they told me they were gonna send me to a different hospital where they do preemie babies, which was Good Samaritan. So they sent me over there to transfer me in an ambulance. I don't know what I was thinking in the moment. I honestly don't know. I think it was just too much. And all I remember is that he called his mom, and he went to pick her up. And meanwhile, I left on the ambulance, and they took me there, and they right away put me inside a room, and I explained to them. They did a bunch of tests. I remember they made me drink that's where I had to drink the glucose, the diabetes thingy. I came back normal. They kept me there though, because of the preeclampsia. So I remember they gave me this little pill to pretty much just lower down my high blood pressure. I was there for like a week, and I remember I was 24 weeks. I remember that they told me that I was gonna have an ultrasound, to determine which either I was gonna stay here until like my due date, or I was gonna go home. But I remember that girl just told me that more likely I was gonna come back. So they took me off of the medication. Um, while I was on the medication, I don't know what's the name of it, but it would make me really drowsy, and I was acting super stupid. Um, I remember that people went to see me and they visit, and I honestly I had no clue what the heck was going on. So yeah, it passed by, time passed by. I remember for the ultrasound, he left. I don't know if to get his mom to take a shower or for something. He left, and I stayed in the room. It was in the morning, and they brought me food. But before I ate, the guy came inside with his little machine to do the ultrasound. And I remember that he was doing the ultrasound and he wouldn't say anything to me. Like, he would just put this face where, like, you can read his face and know, like, something's wrong. So I remember I was just like, he's like, you know what? I'm like, is everything okay? Like, you know? And I remember he's like, we gotta send you to obstetrics for you to get your ultrasound over there, because I think his excuse for me not to be scared or like to make me go into panic was that his machines were old, so they couldn't really detect stuff. So he left the room. All I remember, I started crying, I started praying, I called like my mom, I called him, I called his mom, and they all just told me, you know, let's just pray, pray, pray. I I told them that at this time they had to come and get me so we can go get the ultrasound done. So his mom couldn't go, so it was his godmother who went with us. So it was his godmother and him and I. And we went to obstetrics. They took up the IV and we went. On my way over there to obstetrics, it just felt so like it felt slow. And everything was just slow. Then time, it was time for me, it was time for me just to not worry a lot, because I didn't want to make the baby, if he was already sick, I didn't want to make him feel more stuff, you know. So I just remember we got there, and I couldn't really walk. My stomach was hurting. It was hurting like to walk on my sides. And I felt really nauseous and really drowsy. Like dizzy. I could barely even write my name. And I remember they put me in a wheelchair. They gave me this little bag if I wanted to throw up and water. And right away they took me in. And they did an ultrasound. I fell asleep. And I felt guilty because I didn't even know that those were gonna be my last moments, my last minutes, seeing him on the screen. And all I remember is just that they came back. They came back and did another ultrasound, and I was awake for that. And they told me, the doctor just stopped the ultrasound, and she told me that, she said, I'm sorry. Your baby is not gonna make it due to the fetal high drops that he has. The liquid already spread through the tip of his head to the tip of his toes. He's full with water now, filled with like liquid, and he's not gonna make it. He has like 1% of surviving. And all I remember while she was talking, Kyle and his godmother were just crying, like crying and shocked. And I remember I just kept saying, yeah. And I was holding my tears. I just remember like holding my tears. I wasn't crying. I was just trying to be strong to show them, like, you know what, she's wrong. And I remember, like, she just said, you know, you have to have the baby now because you have preeclampsia and it's really bad. I'm sorry, we can't really do nothing for your baby now. We had to focus on you. And all I remember, I don't know if Kyle was the one that asked if like the baby comes out, if they can resuscitate him, bring him back to life, and the doctor said no, because it will be really selfish from them to know that the baby was gonna come with a bunch of defects like heart diseases and heart problems, and probably he was gonna be on this tube that was gonna help him breathe for him and a bunch of stuff. And they said that he wasn't gonna come out. Most likely he wasn't gonna come out even crying. He was gonna die on my stomach. I just couldn't believe it. All I remember when she said I'm sorry was I cried. I cried because it was just hard, you know? It was hard news, and God almost took him once. He almost took him once, and he stayed. So I kept faith. I kept my faith, and I just thought everything was gonna be okay. He was crying. Kyle was crying, and he called my mom to let her know that I was gonna get induced. Like, I couldn't even go home anymore to break up his clothes. I had to just right away go to the hospital because they told me that I might not look sick from the outside, but inside, my insides were giving up. And when they put you in the place where they tell you, you know what, we're gonna save you, not your baby, it's like, I would rather give my life for my baby's life. I lived like 18 years. I would rather give my life for him. Like, don't save me, save him. Like, you know, he will have my mom, he will have his mom, he will have his dad. But it was just so selfish for him to not be alive and for me to be alive. So I kept being strong, and I kept my faith up. And because to God, there's nothing impossible, right? Doctors can say a lot of things, and, you know, sometimes they get surprised of how wrong they are. So, sorry. So, yeah, after that, we went straight to the hospital, and Kyle was talking to my mom. I went in the bathroom, and all I remember, just looked at my stomach, and I cried more. I got out, and we went straight to the hospital, and I signed papers. They put another IV. They told me that if I wanted to talk to a pastor, I agreed. The pastor came, talked to me, and he told me I was strong. I was strong, and in my head, I was just trying to keep faith. They have a little chapel over there, so I remember his family went with me. A lot of his family started coming into the hospital, and I remember, like, we just went to the chapel, and I prayed and I told him that, you know what, God, if you're gonna let him stay healthy and allow him to cry when he comes out. And if it wasn't his will for him to stay, that he could take him, that it was okay to take him, to just give me strength to keep going for me and for Kyle and my family, to just give us strength and the knowledge of why he was doing that, to know why. And my hopes were for him to stay. Then we left. The last thing I remember I said in the chapel was like, I offer you my baby. He's on your hands. Do what you think it's best. You know? And we left. They put the thingy for the induction, and they put me on really high med to control my blood pressure. His family were there the whole time. My mom arrived. My siblings later arrived with my mom. I remember I requested them to put one last time his song, the Alejandra Guzman one. And I remember I just told my mom that I was leaving. Even though I was drowsy and everything, I told her that I was leaving, and that I was just thanking her for like being my mom and for all that she had done, and you know, to forgive me for not being the good daughter that I was supposed to be when I was living with her. And yeah, so she just told me to not say anything, to don't say that. I just, in my inside, I knew like I was gonna also leave. And she cried and she just told me everything's gonna be okay. She prayed the whole time. She was by my side the whole time and praying, and Kyle too. And I remember just waking up at times and people would just be taking turns. So a lot of his family and my family were there. I was in labor for a day and a half. So my due date was supposed to be January 17, 2017. And I gave birth to him on October 1st of 2016. So on the day of October 1st, around 6:20, I told Kyle I needed to poop. TMI. And he told me that. I woke him up. He said, he said, you need to poop? I'm like, yeah, I need to poop. I got the epidural too. Sorry, I'll come back to that. I got the epidural. I was trying to do my contractions as my birth as natural as I could, so I can at least, you know, keep that, to feel like a mom. Because in my head I knew that like once I had him, I wasn't gonna be a mom anymore. I was not gonna count as a mom, which I was wrong. I am a mom. I am a mom of an angel that's not here physically, but I am his mom. And I carried him 6 amazing months of my life. And they were like the most happiest days of my life, because I learned so much. I learned so much with him. So I remember I got the epidural. I couldn't get up anymore. They made me get it because the blood pressure was going up so high that like could have a seizure or go into a stroke or die. And I told him I needed to poop, and he just told me, it's not poop, it's a baby. So he went and called the nurse. He went to call the nurse, and The doctors came rushing, everybody came in rushing. And I told them, they told me, yeah, the baby's coming. I only opened up to 6 centimeters. And I remember his 2 cousins were inside, my mom was inside. And it was time for me to push. I had no clue how to push because I never even, nobody ever told me how to push. I remember they just told me push, push. I pushed like twice. His foot came out first, and then the rest of him came out. It was 6:20 and the room was silent. I was hoping to hear the crying, and it never happened. It never happened. And he came out sleeping. His last moments, I did felt him move. It was before I needed to push. And I remember I told him to put him on my chest, and they didn't want it to, but they did. During the induction, they only put the contraction monitor. They didn't really want to put the heartbeat one because they didn't want me to panic when his heart stopped beating. So they put him on my chest. I counted every finger, every nail from his toes in his hand. He was so perfect. He was really swollen too. Now with time, I know that the medicine that the doctors did focus mostly on me, and I felt guilty for so long because I didn't do a lot to save my baby, and didn't matter what I said, they wouldn't even do it either. And 15 minutes passed, I got really sick. My lungs were starting to fill with liquid, and liquid was going around my heart too. So what he had, he passed it to me. I remember they took the baby right away. Kyle asked for him to carry him, and he carried him, and all I remember, this arm started hurting where I had the IV, and I told my dad, and a lot of people were just paying attention to Mateó. And I remember that I told him that it hurt, and the doctors right away panicked. I don't know what they put me on. That part I don't remember. All I know that I almost died because the fetal height drops doesn't only affect the baby. Once it can also affect the mom. You get that syndrome of the mirror, which it reflects everything on the mom. And moms have passed away because of that. So I was on the edge of dying too. And I remember I just closed my eyes, and that was it. I heard people crying. I couldn't understand why they were crying. All I remember felt peace. People might think I'm crazy and that I probably making this up, but I remember while I was asleep, because they put me in a deep sleep for my blood pressure to come down and for the liquid to come out. I remember I did get to say goodbye to my baby. I did get to hold him, and I got to tell him that I love him and that forever he was gonna be mine. And I remember I gave my baby to God's arms, and I gave him the baby, and all I remember was waking up after that. I gave him a kiss and a hug, and I gave my baby to him, and I knew he was safe. I woke up, my mom was going like this, and I just remember looking at her like, what are you doing? Also, I woke up to my boob out because a lady was doing an ultrasound on my heart, and it hurt. I also remember they took out my placenta, and my placenta was black. and it was just with a bunch of like masses of balls of masses due to cysts and other stuff. Um, and yeah, like I stayed there for like a week, and every time I wanted to see Mateó, they will bring him. They showered him. They took pictures of him. They changed clothing every time. They'll bring him on this little bed where they bring the babies, you know. And I got to hold him and see him. We took pictures. I got to sleep with him. So I feel lucky for at least having that. They did this memory box that later I will share. But this is a picture of his dad and him. That's him. He looks like that because when when you get suffocated, you turn purple, and that's what happened to him with the medication they were putting in me. He suffocated inside my stomach, and he died like that. Also because of the liquid. Time went by. I got released. We got to say our goodbyes. It was the hardest thing ever because I knew that was gonna be the last time I was gonna hold him and see him and carry him. But it was something we had to do. We said our goodbyes, and I cried. I cried because they were taking my baby. Like, I wasn't gonna have him, and I wasn't gonna see him no more. And Kyle and I just cried. And he was gone. He was gone. And I just felt like I didn't have a baby. I just felt like I got run over by a truck, and that was it. That's why I was in the hospital. That's why I felt like that. We left home. I remember we had a lot of baby stuff for him. He had his swing in the room, his little bed, everything, all clothing, everything was gone. My parents cleaned my room before I went back, so it wouldn't hit me bad. And I remember I had to take care of myself, put in stuff like, what you do after you have a baby. And we had to start planning for a funeral, for where we were gonna put him, if we wanted to bury him or we wanted to cremate him. So, instead of planning to bring a baby home, we were planning something for a dead person. We chose to cremate him. We put him on this little heart, gold heart, and we went and got a little message on it, and his little, excuse the fly, and we got this thing that says his name and his birthday. And it was just really hard. I remember when we got to bring his ashes home, that's when it hit me. It hit me that he wasn't here no more. It hit me like I went through depression. I am not gonna lie. I tried suicide many times. I tried jumping out the car while my partner was driving. I just didn't want it to be here at all. I thought I had no purpose here because my baby wasn't here, and if he wasn't here, then why should I be here? It was just hard. But then I started taking therapy, and we started going to this group. It's called HAND, and the reason why it's called HAND is because it's short for help after neonatal death. So they help you there, and we talked. And I found out a lot of moms that have gone through the same thing that my baby had. And we were the youngest parents there. We were like the only teens because other people were older. But you know, it doesn't matter if you're older or younger, like a death of a baby is always gonna hurt. And I see it like a different way, because if you miscarry a baby like a couple weeks old, like, you know, it's not gonna be the same pain as losing your baby that you felt moving in your stomach that has a name. It's different pains, but it's a pain that's always gonna haunt you, that's always gonna be there, that's never gonna go away. It's just a different level of pain. But it's always gonna be there, and it's not something that you can't just wake up and, you know, say no, it's not. And all I remember is I couldn't see a pregnant person without me crying, without me feeling jealous, without me feeling like, why can't I have my baby? Like, why? And yeah, it took a while. I started drawing. He went back to work. I will wait for him in the night. Sometimes he'll come back and he'll find me on the floor because I was drawing and I fell asleep drawing. And it has never been the same. And in another video, I will talk about my experience on how it is now with this pregnancy and how it has affected me. And all I remember is I told him that I wanted another baby. I wanted another one, and we wanted another one, but we were not thinking straight. But thankfully, it didn't happen at the time. So I had him naturally too. And I just remember it was, for me, really hard to wake up and not have him here. It was hard every month to not have him with me and not being able to see him growing and how he will look like, who he will look like, how he will sound, or him even calling me mommy. You know, his name is Mateó Alexander Tompkins, and every time I hear Mateó, it will hurt so much that I will start crying. And I tried so hard for so long to stay strong because I didn't want him to not be in peace. I remember that when we took him, we did a special mass. They blessed his ashes, they blessed him, this stuff, and I couldn't even speak about it. I couldn't even talk because I felt this knot on my face. On my throat, sorry. And I couldn't even talk, and I felt so guilty about that too because I couldn't even say how I felt. And I regret that. I regret not being able to, but you know what? It was okay. It was okay because at the time, I wasn't strong as I am now. Even though I still fall, I still cry, I still have my ups and downs that I feel so sad and I want to have him, and more now that I'm pregnant, because I see videos of little kids receiving their newborn brother or sister, and he won't be here physically to play with this baby, with his brother. He won't be here to, you know, be his guidance and his best friend. And it hurts. It hurts a lot. It still hurts. But, you know, this baby's a new life. And he's a different story from what I was talking about. But it takes time. It takes time, and it will suck so much. But you have to be strong. And if you're going through this, if you lost the baby, you know what I'm talking about. If you have a friend be there to support them. If they want their time, give them the time, but be there, you know. It takes time. It takes baby steps. It takes steps, and it's never gonna be the same, but you learn to live with the pain, and you learn to be strong, and you will never forget the little person. He or she will always be there with you. I got the chance to see him a lot of times through, maybe it was just in my head, but I got the chance to see him through my dreams, and you know, that's the only way I got to spend time through dreams. It sucks because it wasn't reality, it was just dreams. But that's his story. He was a strong little boy that fought for his life even to his last moments. He never gave up. He fought. But it was his time to go. Even though I hate saying it, he's in a better place and he's taking care of us. Even though the better place would have been in my arms, I wouldn't want to see my kid brain damage with heart problems, with bunch of tubes, because that would have killed me. That would have hurt me even more. And I learned as time went by why he was taken. I wasn't ready to be a mom. I wasn't mentally, neither my partner was mentally ready for that. We were not stable. We weren't ready. We were not even sure of being together, you know. Now we are. Thankfully, we are 4 years now, but I'm always gonna be his mom, Mateo's mom, and he's always gonna be my baby. And the day that I had him, I became the mother of an angel. And it takes time, like I said, it takes time, it takes effort, and it's okay to fall. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel the way you feel. Just know your baby's always gonna be there, always. And once it's your turn to go, he or she will be there, or they will be there to welcome you. Thanks for watching. And I'm sorry for, I'm not sorry for crying because I lost a baby and it's normal. It's normal to cry. It's normal, and I've learned also with time it's not your fault. It wasn't my fault, even though I wish it was me who wasn't here. But God, in my faith, God had his plans, and it sucks. But he knew why he had to go, and some people might not understand. Some people might disagree with me. But honestly, that's just the easiest way and realistic way for me to put it for my story. Like I said, his name was Mateó Alexander Tompkins, and he weighed 1 pound 13 ounces, and he was 12 inches long, and he's my little angel. And it takes time. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye.